Greetings nerds and virgins, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be going through the funniest nicknames in UFC history. Before we start, can you like and subscribe? I'm getting views, but I want some subscribers as well since I'm building a community here. So please subscribe to hop on the shadow train. Choo choo! Hop on the shadow train. But yeah, first of all we got Jon Jones. And no, we're not talking about his current nickname, Bones. We're talking about amateur Jon Jones. And you hardcore fans probably know this, but you casuals, let me tell you what his amateur nickname was. It was Sexual Chocolate. In an old tweet he said, "My original fight nickname used to be Sexual Chocolate. What in the hell was I thinking?" Jones then adopted the nickname Bones, which has been ever present throughout his hugely successful stint in the UFC. He later explained where his new nickname Bones came from in an interview with the Baltimore Sun, saying, "I was a football player that couldn't catch, couldn't throw, but I was really tall and skinny. They put me on the defensive line with all these huge shoulder pads and a really big helmet. When you look at my upper body, I look like a really big guy, but I had all these little chicken legs coming out of my uniform. So everyone started calling me Jones and my brother Beefy, so I kept the name." But next up we got Ian McCall, aka Uncle Creepy himself. I already know Ian McCall's the type of guy to drive past little kids in a white van offering them free candy. But Ian McCall explained the origin of his nickname, the name Uncle Creepy, and he said, "The name Uncle Creepy sounds a lot worse than it is. I'm not a fan of nicknames. I've always hated nicknames. I just always thought they were stupid, especially when people give themselves a nickname like, oh, I'm the Crusher, I'm the Huntington Beach bad boy. It's like, no, you're kind of a douchebag." I just always thought they were dumb. One day my friend's son, who calls me Uncle Ian, it was 3 in the morning, I was trying to put him to bed. He just wanted to learn how to skateboard, so he's like, Uncle Creepy, skateboard." Everyone heard it in the room and it just stuck. I just want to know though why his friend's son was calling him Uncle Creepy. Maybe I wasn't too far off on that whole van thing. But up next we got Dustin Hazelett, aka the man from Superbad, McLovin. At first I thought he was called this because he kind of looks like him a bit, but that's actually not the reason, believe it or not. The real reason his nickname was McLovin is because a couple of days before he fought Jonathan Golet, Dustin Hazelett was staying at the Palms because that's where he fought him at, and they had a movie in theater there, and that movie was Superbad. So I guess he was just a fan of McLovin, which is why that became his nickname. But next up, hide your kids, hide your wife, we got Trigg, aka Twinkle Toes. Frank Trigg, who's known as a full-time referee now, used to be known as Twinkle Toes. Now you may be wondering if Frank Trigg has a foot fetish. Well, he does not. The reason he referred to himself as Twinkle Toes is because he used to be a professional toe sucker. I'm just kidding. The actual reason was because he painted his toenails one time when he fought in Japan, and a Japanese woman in the audience said, "I like the fighter with the twinkle toes." Trigg's manager heard this and told Frank Trigg about it, and ever since then it just stuck with him. Next up though we got Anton, the Pleasure Man, Turkalj. Sadly, now cut from the UFC, he's one of the more recent fighters with a goofy nickname. Currently riding a flaming hot 4-fight losing streak, this man seems flawless, and with a nickname like the Pleasure Man, he's representing it well. But I guess you are wondering the origin of his nickname, right? Well, I can't tell you since he doesn't even know. He says he got it from a song that had the word pleasure in it. So to all you nerds and virgins out there, filter through every song ever in the world with pleasure in it, and you'll eventually find his theme song. Probably some Sweden shit because he's from Sweden. Speaking of Sweden though, next up we got Yoshihiro Akiyama, also known as Sexy Armor. For those who don't know the legend of Sexy Armor, let me give you his background. He had a stunning UFC record of 2 wins and 5 losses, fighting names of like Michael Bisping, Chris Lebon, Vitor Belfort, Jake Shields, and even the bare knuckle fighter Alan Belcher. After finding the UFC too easy for him, he decided to take his work to ONE FC, where he's currently 2 wins, 1 loss, with his last being in 2022. He's probably retired since he's 48 years old, but now that you know a bit about the legend Sexy Armor, let me get into the nickname origin for you guys. Well, he says it's because he's sexy, and Yama in Japanese means mountain. He's basically calling himself a sexy mountain. Not quite sure what to think of that. But next up we got the professional wife beater himself, Luis Pena, aka Violent Bob Ross. I'm sure a lot of you guys do remember this guy. He was training out of AKA and looked to have a bright future in the UFC, but life can turn around on you really quickly, because after Luis Pena got his last win in the UFC, it seemed like things were finally going alright for him. But then boom, he gets caught with domestic violence. Apparently he struck and bit the shit out of his girlfriend. Then he beat the shit out of an eyewitness too. So I guess the violent part comes from him being a fucking thug and a wife beater, and the Bob Ross part is because he literally looks like Bob Ross. But yeah guys, let me know some of your favorite nicknames in the comments below. Doesn't have to be the funniest nickname, it could be the coolest nicknames or whatever you want. And remember to like and subscribe to hop on the shadow train. Choo choo, hop on the shadow train. But yeah, I'll see you at the top.
Hey, you tried to break me, but you couldn't tear me apart. I've got a fire inside, gonna ignite and restart. I'm rising up higher than before. With every step I take, I'm closing in on the score.